Hey, gang, welcome back to the Spotlight. This is, of course, our show where we talk to the creators and folks who makes the stuff we love. And I have a returning guest today, Bob Layton. Bob, how you doing?
I'm good. A little thinner, a little older, but better than the last time I showed up.
Still kicking it,
I
though.
lost a lot of weight when I was doing the Euro tour, man. I
Oh, my
lost like 30
gosh.
pounds.
Oh,
You know,
man. Wow. Yeah, I've been in a bit of a kick myself recently, getting slimmed down for summertime over here. So feels good.
well, you
Definitely
have
feels
to
good.
walk all around Europe. You really can't, take an Uber everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fact that, I mean, the food varies depending on what country you're in, too. So,
That's gotta help too.
yeah. No, but
Oh my
I
goodness.
needed to. So, I feel really good. And since I got back, I've been back about 3 weeks. I've been trying to get out and exercise, walk every day, that kind of thing like that. Um,
Gotcha.
so, I can become the world's greatest cartoonist by attrition. All I got to do is stay
Oh my god.
alive.
Outlive them all. Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Exactly.
He'll be 200 and still cranking out Iron Man drawings.
How about that?
Oh my god. Well, hey, it's great to have you back. We talked, golly, it was maybe about a year ago, and I learned about, or it
That
feels like it
wasn't
was a year
that
ago.
long.
9 months maybe, I don't know, don't make me go back and look. I don't need all that hard work.
Okay.
But we talked about the bulk of obviously your work on the page, and then and with Iron Man, and with different characters, different companies. But one thing we didn't get time for was talking about the birth of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Iron Man 2008 being the first film in that series, your work with that, and then moving on to working on Iron Man 2 in 2010. So
Yeah,
that
it's interesting because I was and this is not me talking, okay, quoting. I was the inspiration for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I'll explain later.
please, please let her rip. That's all I
No,
got. That
no.
that's my big question.
As it turned out, right? Because the first movie was Iron Man, right?
Of course.
Well, as it turned out, David Mazel, who is the founder of Marvel Studios, was the world's biggest Bob Layton Iron Man fan. I mean, his office is covered in my original art. Like he's
That
that guy that's been
wow.
out paying $75,000 for my old covers for the first run and stuff like that. I mean, his I go to his office and it's just filled. It's like a Bob Layton museum.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the biggest compliment I ever got was he said there would be no Marvel cinematic universe if it wasn't for my love of your work.
Oh my god. I
So it
had
was
no
no
idea.
coincidence that Iron Man was the first movie that they did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell me about,
So
so
I
paint
can't take
paint the
credit for
picture.
David Mazel being an Iron Man geek,
I love it.
but the fact was that the fact that his love for the work that David and I did on Iron Man and my art specifically was the inspiration for him to kick off the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man.
Gotcha. So the movie came out in '08. So running up a couple of years prior to that in typical film production parlance. So it's '06, '07.
Oh,
Someone
Sam.
approaches you. Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, basically, my first contact with Marvel Studios was in post. Believe it or not,
In the
you know.
mail? You got
Yeah,
a
no,
letter?
I wasn't there for the first for the filming, and it's probably a good thing because when I talked to Hawk Osby, who is a dear friend, who wrote the first movie with Mark Fergus, right? Hawk said it was a nightmare because they were doing rewrites every single scene almost,
Oh my
They were
god.
literally rewriting the movie on the fly, I mean, and I understand how that kind of works. When if you go back and you look at there's a great documentary called Icons Uncovered Marvel.
Yes.
Have you
Yeah,
seen it?
I think that might be, I may not have, I'm mixing it up with another friend of mine who does documentaries, but those are all on, are those all on Disney Plus?
I think they're on Prime.
Okay, then I think they're actually made by my friend Brian Volk-Weiss, who owns Nacelle Company, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
yeah, Nocell's the people who do it.
Yeah,
If you
I've
watch
had
that
him on a couple times.
documentary,
He's great.
if you watch that documentary, it is the absolute 99% truth, okay, of what went on back there. I mean, one of the things that really pisses me off is I hear the actors they do interviews. And they said, "Oh yeah, we were making it up as we went along, and we were doing all this, and 90% of it was improv because the writers, and that's all bullshit."
Always
Hawk
is.
is a dear friend, and I know for a fact it's all bullshit. But you know how actors are, right? So,
Right, I
of
do.
course, they want to take credit for everything, but let's face it. David Mazel, Hawk, and Mark did such an incredible job of capturing the spirit of what David and I tried to do with Iron Man. It's all there. In fact, when I was going to London, remember when I started my Euro tour, and you
Yeah.
were bugging me about doing the second part of the
Yeah.
show? Yeah,
That's
he's
what I
like
do.
emailing me, right? He's emailing me while I'm on the plane. He's like, go, it's like I can't do it while I'm on the road, but we'll definitely do it, and here we are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so what happened was, anyway, getting back to that documentary, if you want to find out what really happened behind the scenes, that documentary is so accurate to the truth. It's most I think honest appraisal of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how it came about. So I recommend everybody watch it. Besides, I'm on it.
Yes.
You know, I'm
But, and oh, good. I've got it in the show notes, so somebody listening to this can click on it and get to it.
yeah. So, but anyway, so David Mazel, what happened was, they had already shot the principal photography, okay, and then they contacted me, the production company that was doing the DVD, because back then, remember, we used to watch stuff on DVDs, right?
Wow, all those
Yeah,
years
this is
ago.
before streaming, all right. So I'm living in Tampa at the time, so I fly out to California and I start working with these guys on developing the DVD package. So it's and if you have a copy of it, you'll see that I'm actually in the special features, because it's like a fireside chat with Uncle Bob as he tells you about the origins of Iron Man, how
Oh my gosh.
how it all came about and so forth and so on. So yeah, I was out there helping them put together the thing. That's what I met a lot of people out after the fact.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, in between that time, which was really funny, Maisel writes Marvel and says, "Hey, how come there's no Bob Layton comics? We're getting ready to do an Iron Man movie, and there's no Bob Layton Iron Man." Well, he didn't know that I had pretty much been blacklisted from Marvel at that point. You know, well, because as we talked about in the previous version, the editor in chief at that particular time was Joe Quesada, someone I fired from Valiant. So
Funny how that
he,
works.
he was holding a bit of a grudge. So yeah, I
Maybe.
couldn't get the steam off his piss, let alone uh, you know um, a job there, right?
Oh
But
Lord.
David Mazel writes him and says, "Hey, we're getting ready to put out a movie. We want some Bob Layton Iron Man out there, And so that precipitated me coming back to Marvel and doing Legacy of Doom and a bunch of other Iron Man related projects. Uh, and then what happened was, in the interim, I had moved to Hollywood because I wanted to be involved with Iron Man 2, and so I made the move in 2008 to Hollywood and was there on the set for that, and it was great because, like I said, one of the funniest things was I got to the first time I got to the set, we were at the racetrack, uh,
Oh yeah.
the Monte Carlo racetrack scene, right, which we shot in, of all places, Downey, California.
Oh
Right?
my.
Yeah, so I hadn't met RJ yet, or anything like that, right? I couldn't go to the premiere. I was invited to Iron Man 1, but I couldn't go. I did go to a screening in New York, though. Uh, so when I walk onto the set, and they're in Video Village, there's Favreau and Downey, and they're standing there, and both of them are holding Iron Man trade paperbacks with a marker, and it's like, and I'm just like, yeah, they're fanboys. Yeah, they were like, "Could you
Score.
please sign this for us?" And I'm going, "This is like the most surreal moment of my life because I'm signing an autograph to Robert Downey Jr., right, and Jon Favreau." Um, but what was really great was, as we've talked about, I've been sober at that time 25, 26 years or whatever,
Awesome.
and Susan Downey, right? Susan Levin, who was RJ's wife, was screening people very thoroughly because she didn't want anybody to get in there would give him drugs or alcohol because he's only been sober about 3 or 4 years at this point, right?
Right, right.
And so but I got a pass immediately when she found out that I've been sober for like 25 years or whatever. It was like, you may go. So I got to spend a lot of time with RJ on the set, which was great.
Oh, that's
I was
awesome.
sitting in the makeup. I'm sitting in the makeup where he's getting all bloodied up for the racetrack scene and stuff like that. And it was at some point where we're just talking. He's talking about how much he wanted to do Demon in a Bottle and how the Marvel Studios didn't really feel like they felt it was too dark for the tone they were setting. But he got really excited. He goes, "Oh, you don't know what we're doing yet." And he runs over to the prop tent, right? He comes back and drops the suitcase armor in my lap, right? And he says, "Yeah," he goes, "We're doing this." I mean, he was genuinely. I loved his enthusiasm. I mean, he asked me if what I thought of his performance in the first movie, and I'm kind of like, well, to be honest with you, I said when I first heard you were cast, I thought you were too old. I said, because Tony Stark was supposed to be a prodigy, right? A child
Right.
prodigy. That he was. I always pictured him as being somewhere in his late 20s, early 30s, right? And but I said the second I saw the rushes, because when we were working on the DVD, he just crushed it, man.
Yeah, God.
He's going to be a hard act to replace. When they get around to doing it, if they ever.
Someday, yeah. Yeah. What do you think about him becoming Victor Von Doom? We're going to see that in about 9 months here.
You really want? No, let's not talk about that.
Okay, very good. We're skipping. We're going back to Iron Man.
To be honest with you, I think the whole thing's a mistake. Because they basically are trying to retool this on the fly, and
Yeah, trying to rekindle.
Here's what they're going to do, and this is why I think the whole thing's a mistake. And no, I'm not casting any aspersions on Kevin Feige or anybody involved. And who's going to blame RJ for what is he, a $60 million payday? I mean,
right.
Yeah, I would do a donkey on camera for It's like, I mean, who would? I mean, for $60 million, right? But what they're going to do is they're going to negate all those movies that you love so much, the ones you went to there and you saw multiple times. I mean, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, all those great movies are going to be. They're going to say, "Well, they never happened." It's like, "Well, here's we're rebuilding the universe. All those things don't matter anymore. All that stuff you grew up with, all that stuff you love, never happened. We've changed the universe." And I think that's a mistake. I think it's a mistake.
I agree. I mean, I hope that people don't view it that way myself. I know. I mean, I went back and watched Avengers 2012 just a week or so ago because my wife and I just did a trip to New York, and I wanted to be like, I was so like, oh God, I want to get back, and I was just totally psyched about it. But I don't know. I don't think anything like that will ever replace it for me. I hope respectfully you're incorrect, but I do.
Well, yeah, I don't know because I don't have an inside track anymore. So again, I'm only going by what I hear, and it's kind of like, look, Viggo Mortensen could have played a great Doctor Doom. Okay, it's like why RJ? Well, it's because it's obviously they had lost a lot of their fan base due to putting out a lot of crappy movies.
For the last 6 years, 7 years.
And so it just smacks of desperation a bit, and that
I wish
that's what bothers me about the whole thing, that you can smell the sweat.
Yeah.
And it's kind of also, again, they're doubling down on the multiverse thing and the stuff. I mean, Marvel was always based on reality. The real world. I mean, when I first got to New York, as a teenager, I mean, I literally thought I would see Spider-Man swinging from building to building.
I had the same thought a month ago when I was in New York.
And it's kind of like, now everything's this multi-dimensional thing, and you had to watch all the TV shows and blah 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 blah, and and they're doubling down on that. And it seems to me like it's a huge error because the movie-going public are not comic book fans. I mean,
exactly.
We do not make up the majority of people who go see Project Hail Mary. All right,
right.
They just go to see a good movie, right?
Yeah,
and it's like they're going to be there, and they don't care about the continuity. They don't care about this stuff. Most of them probably haven't even seen a lot of the movies these things are tied into, or these X-Men movies that haven't actually been shown in 10 years, right?
Yeah, or longer.
Yeah. and it's kind of like, I think your average. I always said that you got to make superhero movies that your mother can understand.
Right.
When after Iron Man came out, and I got the DVD, I did this special package for Paramount, where I did a poster inside the DVD from Iron Man 1, and I sent it to my mother. Now, my mother never read a comic book in her life, wouldn't touch it, right? And at this point, she's like, she's in her 80s, but she popped that DVD in, right? And she calls me and she goes, "Bobby, is that what you've been doing all these years?" I said, "Yes, Mom." And she goes, "That's pretty good stuff."
Oh my
You know?
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, see, my mom, Iron Man was accessible to my mother.
Right. Because the
That's
story she can understand. It's a guy, he's a rich guy. This thing happens to him. He gets inspired and he's going to go
all
fight
you have to
evil.
do is buy the technology and it works, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's why Batman is universal, because all you
Right.
do is buy the technology and it works, right? And his psychosis, of course.
Right.
Uh,
Of course.
yeah. So this is why I kind of feel this way. But again, this is just my opinion. It's not based on anything, but I just think it's a mistake. I find that my enthusiasm for this whole upcoming thing is very minimal. I mean, I'll get invited to go to the premiere because I got
I'll be your date if you don't bring somebody. I'm just saying.
I got
I'll come
skin
to
in the
LA.
game because, like I said, I get royalties on War Machine and the Ghost and Ant Man or whatever, but uh, I probably won't go.
Yeah. That's a big
Also
trip.
because
Yeah.
when you're on the red carpet, yeah, I'm not going to get any FaceTime. There's too many stars there, so
Right.
you're not going to get any time with the press. I always used to go to, and I went to all the premieres. Because it was always good to let the people know, the press, the public, that we cartoonists are associated with this movie. We had something to do with this movie's creation.
Yeah,
I
big
always
time.
try to make that connection, whether I'm talking to the LA Times or whatever. They understand that where the origins of this stuff came from. So I
Right.
always thought I had a duty to kind of show up and represent, for all us poor cartoonists who get our credits usually between the guys who drive the trucks and the caterers. They
Very
squeeze
end
in
before
there.
all the little blurbs of
Yeah,
where the
it's
film
not.
credits go to.
DC has been so much better about that.
Yeah.
Marvel, yeah, they basically just kind of wedge you in there somewhere and hope nobody notices that they didn't create all this stuff themselves.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to Iron Man 2. Iron Man
Yes,
2 was a
please.
blast. I have a couple of stories that I tell about it. Because Mickey Rourke was there, and Mickey Rourke. I tell the Mickey Rourke story. It's huge. I don't know if we'll have time to do it here because we only have a half hour.
Oh, launch into it. Let's have it.
Oh, well, I'm sitting in Video Village, right? We're shooting. It's a really hot day. It's about 95 degrees. The reason we're in Downey is because, unlike LA, we can burn real fuel there. We don't use smoke pots, so we can
Oh
really
my gosh.
pollute the atmosphere. So that's really, Favreau says that's why we're really there. And so
Right.
they're
Yay.
blocking the big shot where Whiplash is going to come out and cut a couple of the race cars in half, the one with Tony's in
Right.
and so forth and so on. So they're blocking the shot, and it's taken a long time. And so we're just kind of sitting there, and Favreau looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you did the Iron Man cover where he's falling out of the helicarrier and changing into his armor, right?"
Oh,
I
I
said,
love it.
"Yeah."
What issue is that?
118. I said,
118.
"Yeah." He goes, "That's my favorite cover ever." You
Oh,
know.
me too.
I said, "Well, thanks." He goes, "I'm not supposed to tell you, but," he goes, "we're doing it in the Avengers." You know. I said, "Oh yeah," because they were shooting the Avengers simultaneously, right? So they did but they had him fall out of the Avengers Tower and do the movie
Right.
change, but that was totally an homage to me, and he wanted me to know that, even though, John, you broke your NDA, you know. But I had to
Ah, it's
sign
been a
one
long time.
too, so it was fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're sitting in Video Village, and Justin Theroux's there, the writer. He's they're doing a nice guy, and
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to Downey, and we're behind the DP and Favreau, right? And I look way the hell over there, about 30 yards away, under an umbrella, sitting by the racetrack, is Mickey Rourke all by himself. And I look at RJ and I go, like, what's the deal? And he goes, oh, he's a method actor. And okay, I'm new
Of
to
course.
Hollywood, so I'm kind of like, well, what does that mean? He goes, well, it means he stays in character through the entire film. I start laughing. I go, you're kidding me, right? And he goes, no. And I go, it's a comic book character. I mean, it's whiplash for God's sake, you know. And so he goes, yeah. RJ says, well, yeah, no one's allowed to talk to him except the director. I go, that's crazy. Yeah, and Favreau is a joker anyway, right? He looks back at me and he goes, "You want to meet him?" And I go, "I don't know. He's armed. I'm not
He's like, yeah.
sure. He's armed and notorious, as you know, right? You know.
Oh
So
yeah.
so I John gets up and he walks the 30 yards over there, and I see him lean over and you know, and Mickey Rourke looks up at me and goes. So I get up and I'm doing like the really slow walk over there, and here's the I was so afraid that I was going to break out laughing as soon as he opens his mouth. Right, I'm sitting there, and I get up and he looks at me and he goes, "So you are the man who do the Iron Man comic books?" I'm like, yes. And he goes, you sit down. I will put on a good show for you today.
Oh, for God's sakes.
I'm going like, okay. And I kind
I'm
of
vaguely
walk back,
terrified right now.
and I got tears in my eyes. I'm just like trying not to laugh out loud. And I, I just said, that's the craziest thing in the world. Why does he do this? You know? And I said, really, this is what method acting is? I look at Archie and I go, do you do that? And he goes, no, I'm not crazy. You know,
Oh my
it's like,
God.
so yeah. Uh, then I go to lunch. We break for lunch, and I'm sitting at a table with three of his body doubles, and they all wearing Mickey Rourke masks. And they set them down on the table. Their faces are on the table, and they didn't allow me to have a phone there. And I said, "Oh my God, this was the picture of a lifetime." I'm sitting at the table eating lunch with three Mickey Rourkes, right? You know,
Sounds like a comic book.
oh yeah, it was just crazy, and you know, but it was a wonderful time. You know,
Yeah.
they treated me real well. Then RJ and I got to San Diego, and we did the whole San Diego con together. And
Oh wow.
yeah, I mean, we got up in the morning and walked around San Diego, and we had, I mean, we hung out for the whole thing, and then my thing is they wanted me to come in and do the Hall H, right? So I get there to Hall H, and someone left me off the guest list. I can't get it. After all this whole weekend, I'm going around telling everybody, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. We're gonna preview the thing, and we're gonna all that stuff." So Barry, who's Barry Curtis, who's in charge of Marvel security, he was there on the set, right? He's still there. He's still part of Marvel security, unless he got laid off with the other people. Barry's like, no, 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 he belongs in here. Let him in. Let him. Barry sees me at the door, and so
He's the
they had a
bouncer.
seat waiting me up in front. And
Yeah.
then finally, like I said, at the end, somebody brings up my name in the audience, and so Kevin Feige says, "Well, we just happen to have him right here," and they didn't have a stairs, so they lifted me. Kevin Feige and a stagehand picked me up by the arms for the side of the stage. You can see this; it's on YouTube. You can find it. And,
Oh
and they
my God.
bodily lift me onto the stage, right? So I can get up and I can take a bow and say a few words, right? Which I do, and but that's not the funny part, right? So I hug it out with them all and go, it's like the whole cast is there or whatever. And I'm able to in a dignified way walk off the stage and back into my seat, right?
You found some
But
stairs,
the
or you
thing
had to
that
jump?
nobody realized was suddenly 7,000 crazed Iron Man fans now knew who I was.
Oh
And as soon as the
man.
lights went up, they all went out to the green room and off the stage. The lights come up. I turn around and 7,000 people bum rush me all at once. I'm
You're
like,
like the
oh,
Beatles.
I'm going to be crushed. Oh my God. I mean, I'm back up against the stage and I'm like, I'm going to be crushed. And suddenly I feel these hands on me and four big bouncers literally pick me up like mosh pit and carry me outside security door.
It was right. It was
You
a rock
know,
show. You had a
saved
bouncer,
my
you had a
life.
mosh pit.
They
It was
saved
the
my life,
Beatles.
man. You
That's
know?
so crazy.
So
Oh my
yeah,
god.
so we went to the premiere. After when it premiered, that was great. That was a lot of fun. Of course, Mickey was himself there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Was there some method acting component for him being at a
no,
premiere?
no,
I mean,
I
or
think
was
he
he
had just had too many cocktails. I think he
shocking?
was just sloppy. but
Shocking.
anyway, so yeah, that. But the end of my Marvel Cinematic, at least contributions in where it was coming up very shortly because um, I was getting ready to prep for Iron Man 3 because Kevin Feige had wanted me to meet with Shane Black, which
Hmm.
I agreed to do. But then I found out that they were paying royalties on War Machine, but not paying the guys who actually created Jim Rhodes.
Ooh.
And I talked, to my lawyer about this. I said, "How's that possible? How can they pay for, you know, them for that when we created the actual character that's in the armor, you know?" And after some whatever, anyway, I filed a lawsuit, you know,
Sure.
and of course, as you can imagine, being Marvel and Disney, that went over like a lead balloon, right?
Yeah, right. Farting
Suddenly, I
church.
became persona non grata. Okay,
Oh boy.
I
You did the right thing.
I never got invited to. I've never even seen Iron Man 3 in its entirety.
No.
But yeah, I
Not a
don't
bad
want
flick.
to either. There's a funny
But
story
yeah.
about that too, but I won't bore you with that now. Uh,
No.
but
But it
that
was a
went
wild
on
ride.
until Edgar Wright walked off Ant-Man, and then suddenly I get a call from Marvel, like, "Bob, how are you?
Oh, typical
I
Hollywood
hate that
bullshit.
we wound up like this. It's like," he goes, "You are a brick in the foundation of the Marvel House of Ideas. We shouldn't be at odds." And I'm like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, no chance to cut the bullshit, please.
Yeah,
I was born. I was born
and
yet
I already
this
knew. I
in the
got
morning, but not this morning.
no, I gotten an email from Edgar apologizing that he walked off. Telling me that he left the project and all that kind of stuff. So I knew what was up. So
Yeah.
we kind of need you to get out there and because word of mouth, when something like that happens in Hollywood, it's usually the kiss of death.
Yeah.
So suddenly I'm back in their good graces. I mean, look, I've had an off and on history with Marvel. All right, mostly on. All right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
working for Marvel is kind of like living in Soviet Russia. You're in favor, you're out of favor, you're in favor. It depends on what regime is there, right?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
but
Right.
I mean, the one thing they can't do is erase my legacy,
Correct.
whether they like me or not. Okay,
Right.
and generally it's not. But
Yeah.
because I do interviews like this, right? But at
Yeah.
the same time, am I not explaining to you what absolute fun I had on the set there, and everything? I mean,
Absolutely.
well, it's like I had a great time, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. But at the same time, it's always like it's two steps forward, one steps back kind of thing.
Right. Like
This
the rest of life.
politics of,
Yeah.
business. So what happened was, I started working for Nicktoons. Dave and I, they hired us to start writing Iron Man Armored Adventures. So I got that job instead, because that wasn't through Marvel, it's Nicktoons, right? It was just a license. And
Right.
what happened was that then through a bunch of circumstances, I wound up hooking up with Edward James Olmos and his production company. I met his son at a birthday party at
Bodie.
Boa.
Bodie.
Uh,
Yeah.
not Bodie, no, but this is Michael, the
Oh,
director.
okay. I know Bodie because you see over my shoulder, I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica
Well,
fan.
yeah,
And
and
obviously,
listen, I
yeah,
know
they were both in the show.
I'm friends with most of those guys because you can't hang out with Eddie and not know the rest of them because they all
I
still
would
read him.
I would love to chat with
Like,
Eddie.
oh,
Just plug
I
if you're
did a
still in
couple
touch
of
with him.
cons with the whole cast. Eddie had me go with them,
Oh my
and
god,
it was a
I would love
blast.
to
I
have
mean, I
met him.
love them all. They're really a fun bunch. But what's really great, crazy, we're all out to dinner, and it's like 13 of us, right? And suddenly Eddie speaks up, "Can I have your attention?" And everybody just, and I go, "Oh my
He's
god,
the
you really
admiral.
are the commander," you know?
Yeah.
you know, it's like the second Eddie opens his mouth, everybody's quiet. I have a great picture of Mary McDonald drunk on my lap, though.
No.
Uh,
We have to talk Battlestar more at definitely at a later
oh
time
yeah.
because
So
that
anyway,
is
working for Eddie was great.
cornerstone of me.
He helped me
Yeah.
make that transition from doing comics to working in Hollywood. So I wound up working with him and his son Michael for a few years. I wrote a couple of films for Almost Productions, which of course never got made. But I wrote 6 movies while I was out there. All of them got placed. None of them ever got made.
Oh
The
man.
politics in Hollywood. I am a victim of Hollywood politics. I
Oh
had
man.
a movie at Summit Entertainment, okay, that was in development there. All right, for 6 months, and I'm sitting there on pins and needles. It was a original script that had come up, and it's just about when they're getting ready to green light it. Lionsgate comes in, buys them, and fires everyone.
Oh my god.
Then I did a comedy, horror comedy called Shambler, which was actually in pre-production when
Oh
the
man.
Odyssey Pictures, the company that was financing the movie, went bankrupt.
Of course. Oh my
I mean, I
gosh.
just had the worst luck.
Can't win for losing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could go on, but why bother? The point of it is,
Yeah.
eventually, what happened was I left Hollywood. I wanted to go back to Florida to be with my grandchildren because I realized they were
Yeah.
growing up without me around. So, with my ex girlfriend Michelle Grant, we started a development company, and she was the LA branch. I was the Florida branch, and that's what I did when I went back to Florida in 2016.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I had during that time I was represented in Hollywood. I was represented by WME, and I must have done 100 different pitches. Still have them all. I have my deck on this computer that we're talking on. Um,
Yeah.
and what was really the other really odd thing about Hollywood is Eric Reed, who was my agent at the time, who I guess now is running WME. I mean, he's the head guy there now. But at the time, he would say, "Yeah, Bob, Studio 44, Peterburg, they want to meet with you. They want to hear your pitch or whatever." And I would go there, and I would walk in to their conference room, and there'd be a bunch of guys standing there or sitting there right at the table with a stack of comic books like this, and they're like, "Hey, listen, before we get going, could you autograph my
Oh yeah.
picture?"
Another freebie.
Oh no, no! But the thing of it is, as soon as I would do that, right, they put on their own little mini con, so they just shut down. It's like they didn't really care about whatever I was pitching. They just
Oh
wanted to get their book
man.
signed. So I got to the point where I made a rule: I don't sign anything until after I'm done with the pitch.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And
Yeah,
it
you
got
got
to the point where I'm
to
like,
earn it.
because there's so many comic geeks out there, especially at that particular time, from like
Yeah.
2008 to 2016, right? I mean, the comic book movie had blown up, right?
Right, right.
So I'm asking Eric. I go, is this an actual pitch meeting or a circle jerk? Because I said if I'm just going there to sign comic books, I don't want to go. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
I mean, do they really want to actually hear the pitch or not? So
Oh my goodness.
I did a little development stuff. I did script doctoring. I did design work for some movies.
Wow.
I did a lot of things because the pay was so much better than comics. And like I said,
Yeah, right.
and as far as the comic book industry went, I mean, I tried to keep a foot in it as much as I could, but it just got to the point where I didn't know anyone anymore, and there wasn't really. I was feeling really guilty. One night I was having dinner with Eddie, and I was feeling really guilty about basically turning my back on the comic industry. Just saying, because working in Hollywood, so I'm not really doing much. I said I don't really. They offered me another Iron Man the mini series or something, and I'm kind of like, what should you do? What should I do? I feel like I owe my fans something, and Eddie looks at me. He calls me Bobby. He goes, Bobby, he goes, what's one more episode of Battlestar Galactica going to do for my career? I said,
But it would make
nothing.
us all
I
so
said
happy.
nothing, and
Yeah, exactly.
which became the plot to Portlandia.
Portlandia. Oh
Yes.
my god, such a great segment.
uh,
Such a great God,
but
I love that show.
he said, he goes, no, he goes, he goes, your legacy is set. I can't do Eddie without talking like Eddie. Your legacy
Yeah.
is set, Bobby. He goes,
God,
you don't owe anyone anything.
so say
You
we all.
gave it all for your entire career. He goes, don't feel guilty about it, you know. So
God, I would love to meet him. Wink,
he
wink, wink.
is
Wink, wink, wink.
everything you think he is.
I would
And
absolutely love
that's
it. So
saying a
I
lot
keep
because
my
I
fingers
don't
crossed.
like actors generally. Okay, they don't make
Yeah,
good
and I
friends
understand.
mostly.
Yeah.
But in Eddie's case, Eddie would give you the shirt off his back. He's about as smart as they are, a political activist with balls of steel, a diehard vegan. It's like no, he's an amazing guy, and
Yeah.
he made me part of his family, not
Oh my
just
gosh.
the Battlestar Galactica family, but the almost family as well. He invited me over for things. I was there for holidays and stuff
Oh
like
my
that. Yeah,
gosh.
and he and I used
I had no idea.
we used to do cons together and stuff like that. But oh yeah, I met the whole family. Yeah, you know, nobody knows about Brandon, the other son, right? He's a
Right. Well, I knew Bodie because Bodie was character on Battlestar. He
right,
was one of the
right. You know,
pilots.
it's like but I call Bodie Olaf because his mom is Swedish. He's Swedish Mexican. So
Whoa.
he calls me Sven. I call him Olaf.
Oh my
You
God,
know,
how funny.
but no, Eddie is one of the true princes out there. I mean, he's genuine, not affected by the whole Hollywood thing. He's
Oh
a
my
genuine,
gosh.
caring, loving human being, you know, and he has a great family and like I said, and the Battlestar people, uh, Luciana Caro, a few of them I still keep in touch with.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Well, good.
we
Oh,
made friends. Not Nikki Klein.
no, no, I saw that whole
Oh
special. We don't
no,
need to
yeah.
talk about
Nikki
that.
actually wrote me and wanted me to write a letter of recommendation when she was going to court
Oh God.
in that whole Nexium thing.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
it's nasty. That was nasty.
Oh, I know. God. Oh my goodness.
No, she tried. I
Well,
remember she tried to recruit me for that thing. It's at one con we were at. You know, she started telling me
oh
about
my
this
God, dude.
wonderful bunch of people that she's with or whatever. I'm like, but Leah Carnes, I mean, all of them, they're great. You know,
We had Rick Worthy on the show last year. God, super nice guy. He turned around and hooked us up with Robert Dunk McNeil and Garrett Wong, the guys from Star Trek Voyager, which of course we're
yeah,
big Star
I
Trek
met
show too.
Garrett. Yeah,
And he's from Michigan. He's from Detroit, like I
oh
am.
yeah.
So it was awesome, awesome talking to
No,
him. So I
they're
would love to. We talked Battlestar on one of the other shows that Peter, who's my business partner, main co-host, do. Second only to Star Trek. That is our shared favorite show.
Oh no, I am a huge
Absolutely love
Battlestar
Battlestar.
Galactica fan, but you know, like I said, it's funny. How much time do we have left?
Well, we're winding down, but tell me one more story,
Oh
please.
no, the story of how I met Eddie was really funny
Yeah,
because when I
please.
met Michael at Boa, we're sitting around smoking cigars. It was for my manager at the time. It was his birthday party at Boa, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like it's really like it was at the time. It was very dark and who's hooey, right? You know. So I'm sitting around the campfire. There's a pit outside, right? I'm smoking a cigar, and I'm telling these two guys. There's this Persian guy and this black guy sitting there, and they were obviously talking about their movie they had coming up. And they asked me what I was, and I said I was working on a spec script, and I was telling them what it was, and uh, I remember that the Persian guy goes, "That is terrible. No, I don't like that." He goes, "The ending, you have to show the alien. You can't do that. It's terrible." And Michael's like, "No, no, no. I really love this." He goes, "Listen, my dad and I have a production company." He goes, "We're on the Disney lot." He goes, "Would you like to come out and like talk to my dad about this? Because I think he would really enjoy it, especially coming from somebody with your background in comics and all this sort of thing." And I said, "Well, sure, no problem." He gives me a card. It's Michael D. Olmos, and okay, that's a fairly common name, you know, but it's obviously he's a black guy, so I didn't think anything of it, right? So I set up the meeting and I go out to the Disney lot, right, and I see Olmos Productions, and I go through the door, And I'm sitting in the lobby, and there's Michael, and he goes, "There's these two big wood oak doors that open up to the office." He goes, "Yeah, his dad's on the phone. We're gonna talk to him in a second." So we get up, and he opens the big doors, and there's Commander Adama sitting behind a desk. And I do this. I go, and Michael goes, "I'm adopted." Because I'm tongue tied. I'm sitting there with Eddie, and I've always been a huge fan of Eddie, right? I mean, the guy is an
Yeah.
icon. I mean, he single handedly stopped the LA riots, and it's like, I mean, and I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan, so I'm totally unprepared, right?
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
but Eddie was taking great delight in it, and
Oh my
like I said,
God.
but we became fast friends, and he was a great mentor to me, and teaching me how to make the transition from comics to film.
Yeah.
He worked with me, whatever. So, and we keep in touch. He's great, but yeah.
That's totally
So
awesome.
yeah, Michael totally snookered me. I had no idea.
Oh
Uh,
my God. Well, I would absolutely love to meet him someday myself. So I will yeah, I will yeah,
you
good
won't be
stuff.
disappointed. They say never meet your idols. That's one that you could definitely be happy to meet.
I guess that's why I'm glad that I haven't met John Byrne, because he was always an idol of mine, but things I've heard. We don't need to
Oh,
get
I
into
met
that.
him. Remember, I
Oh,
started
I'm
with
sure
him.
you. Right? No, it was the same time frame. So
CPL,
absolutely.
no,
But
he was part of the CPL gang, the fanzine that I put out. That's where we all
oh
started.
yeah.
Him, Roger Stern, and myself, right?
I have always admired his stuff, but the things I've read, and he's a recluse now. I mean, he's completely
Well,
off
I
the
think it's
grid.
I think we're all better off.
That's the impression I get. But we don't need to spend the next
No, I'm
the
with
next
you.
5 minutes
John
dragging
is
John Byrne.
look, like Jim Lee, like Neil Adams. He was a generational talent, without a
Hmm.
doubt. I mean, there's one that comes along every 20 years or so that basically creates a school of art.
Right.
Neil obviously did that. I mean, Jack Kirby did that. Wally Wood did that. I mean, these
Right.
the ones. They're generational artists. John was a generational artist, no doubt about it. Uh, the trouble is, like any star, the star fades in time, and
Right.
you have to evolve. You have to become a red dwarf or whatever whatever it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
it.
saying, it's like I've always embraced moving into. I'm always looking forward. It's like I
Right.
mean, I
Got
love
to.
my comic legacy, and I'm proud of it, and it opens a lot of doors. The Marvel universe, cinematic universe, has opened a lot of doors for me. Um, and I spent my time when I was in Florida trying to develop film and television, bring film and television to Florida because they had almost no uh, productions being done there anymore. And so I was working with film commissioners there, my friend Tyler Martin Knowledge in Tampa and a few others. In fact, before I left to go on my world tour and that I never came back from, the Mayor Jane Castor declared August 4th Bob Layton Day in Tampa, and I
Awesome.
had a museum showing, and we had a night at the Tampa Theater with a screening of Iron Man, the original Iron Man, plus Hawk showed up, and Hawk was there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was one of the best nights of my life,
That's
and it was a
awesome.
thank you for trying to bring productions there. It was basically their way of saying thanks.
That's
It was one of
so
the best
cool.
nights of my life. Then I left America.
Yeah. For adventure. Well, we are wrapping up. Bob, oh my God. This was awesome. I learned more than I ever could have learned on looking at stuff on the internet, or even a 5 minute conversation if I met you at a show.
Well,
So this has been an
I
honor.
saw Frank
Where,
Miller in Tokyo, and he said I was telling him a couple of these stories, and he's like, "Bob," he goes, "you need to write the book." He goes, "There's not that
yeah,
many of us left to even remember this stuff." He goes, "You need to write the book."
do it.
So
Do
I'm
it.
giving serious thought to it.
You write the book, and I'll help you sell it to the best of my ability. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, anybody that I can tell. Well, in wrapping up, tell people where they can find you.
Well, I'm on all social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and you can always go to bobblayton.com. But all that does is really just my feeds or whatever. That's my commission stuff or whatever. I'll be
Right.
in Hong Kong at the end of May. And here's an
Awesome.
announcement for you. I'm coming back to the United States in August. I will be attending GalaxyCon in San Jose, California, followed by Dragon Con the next week in Atlanta. So
Oh
I will be back in America, guys, for
man,
a limited run. For a
if
limited,
I had a way to juggle around my summer travel, my wife and I are representing the podcast at a Star Trek convention on Long Island, and that's my summer trip. But boy, if I could squeeze in going to Dragon Con to meet you, it would be an honor of mine.
well, that I am coming back to the States, so for a limited time. I have some business I need to take care of there in Tampa as well. So Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I'm gonna visit the family and do a couple of Comic Cons because Spencer won't let me come there without doing that. And I'll probably do another CGC thing. So
Okay. Well, we'll stay in touch about it. And who knows? Maybe I'll just have to jump in the car and drive to Atlanta, see a Dragon Con. Who
well,
knows?
that would
Well,
be great, man. That would be great.
I'll see what I can do.
But
All
for
right, my
all the
friend,
people
I will
watching,
bid you
I'll see
adieu.
you at one of those, hopefully.
You better believe it. All right, friends, thanks for tuning in. If you're listening on the free feed, please visit us over at Secret Friends Unite on Patreon. So patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite for tons of great interviews and other great content, including my first talk with Bob Layton. Bob, have a great evening because it's evening there.
It's almost midnight here. It's
Oh my God.
always
All
a
right, my
pleasure.
friend. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Yeah, well, what you said. All right.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.